Hello, dear friends. Welcome to our free webinar about the upcoming solar eclipse on the 2nd of July. So first of all, just very quickly, please type in the chat if you can hear me. Where are you from? We have some really exciting things to talk about today. One of the most karmic events generally and during this year as well, solar eclipse in Cancer. We are going to talk about it. We are going to discuss, first of all, what would be the best thing to do, what you should focus on, what you should be careful of. I will share my screen quickly to show you the chart. We are going to discuss the most important aspects, which can show us also how harmonious this energy will be expressed. We are going to make a short prediction about each of the signs. Make sure to listen to your sun and ascendant sign to be prepared. And at the end, I hope that we'll have some time for your questions. So if you want to ask something about the solar eclipse, you will be welcome to do that in the chat. The 2nd of July, we have the first solar eclipse in Cancer. And 2 weeks after that, we are going to have a lunar eclipse, which will be in Capricorn and Cancer. So generally, this creates a period, like a corridor, which can be very, very transformative. We never have only one eclipse. There are always 2 or 3 in a row. Between them, there are 2 weeks apart. And this is a period during which you can make a significant shift. Something very important can transform in your life. Something karmic, something fated. It's not always easy. But the more conscious you are, the more aware you are of what's going on and what you want to manifest in your life, the better you can work with this energy. So, first of all, a very quick reminder of what is actually a solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is conjunction between the sun and the moon, which means a regular new moon. But we also have one of the lunar nodes in conjunction. Now, a very important question is which lunar node is in conjunction, the south or the north? And this time, we have the north node in conjunction. That's very important. I would say that probably that's the most important about this solar eclipse, the fact that north node is there. The North Node shows the right direction or the future direction for you, where you can grow, where you need to focus, where you can expand. It's one of the most important indications, both in your birth chart, in the natal chart, and also in the transits. The 2 nodes are very important, south and north. But the difference is that your south node or the transit south node is connecting you to the past and may have a similar impact like Saturn. And on the other hand, the north node has a similar impact like Jupiter. So it means area where you can grow, where you can learn things, where you can expand, where you can prosper. So it's very important to find out also which area of your life will be triggered by this conjunction, by the solar eclipse and the north node. In this area of your life, you can grow, you can expand. You may face with some kind of fated events, something karmic, something very important. 6 months ago, it should have been around January, February, we had the last eclipses. But during this period, we had the south node there. So it's more difficult when you have to work with the south node. It's more about some separations, possible losses or restrictions. This time, the upcoming solar eclipse on 2nd of July can be much different, because you can expand, you can grow, you may prosper in certain area of your life. So that's also very, very significant. Now, let me see also. First of all, yeah, the sign of the eclipse, solar eclipse in Cancer. The moon is very strong there because it rules this sign. That makes, the whole story, the whole eclipse even more significant, actually. And the Cancer areas are, or the Cancer theme, life theme, will be very important in almost everyone's lives. Cancer as a sign represents family, our inner child, our deepest emotional needs for protection, for security, for safety, the connection with our ancestors, the connection with our mother and father. So overall, those themes can be important for all of us. Now, we also need to remember that on a solar eclipse, for a certain period, the sun is invisible. What does the sun represent? The sun represents our consciousness, our awareness. So in one way, we may expect that it can be a challenge for us, to be as conscious and aware of what's going on. So it means that we need to pay, additional price, or we need to put some extra efforts to be really conscious of what's going on. If you are able to remain conscious, to be, really open-minded to see what's going on, then you may really expand, you may really learn lots of things, you may grow in certain life area, depending on what the solar eclipse is triggering in your chart. So a very important, very transformative event for almost everyone. Now, before I share my screen, we also need to discuss actually the aspects, because the other aspects will show us how, the energy is processed. Is it easier? Is it more difficult? And what can help us? Which are the solutions, or, the support that we can use? Now, first of all, the exact time of this eclipse, let me give it to you right now. So 2nd of July, 4:12 p.m. Eastern Time. 4:12 p.m. Eastern Time is the exact moment of the solar eclipse. Also, which are the areas which, where you can actually see in the sky the solar eclipse? It will be mostly the South area in North America, also much of South America, and generally the Pacific area. So in Europe, the eclipse won't be visible because, it's too late. It's around 10-11 p.m. So in Europe, it won't be visible. This is also important. If you are in those areas, in America mostly, then this eclipse may have an even stronger impact. Actually, some astrologers even say that if, the eclipse is not visible in the area where you are, it may not have an impact on your life. I don't agree completely. I think that even if it's not visible, for example, in Europe, it's not visible, it's still important, it's still transformative and, karmic. But if you can also see it, then it's even more important. And I also think that when we talk about, world events or economy processes, this visibility in America is also important. Those countries there might be more impacted. But even if you're here in Europe, I see Mark here shares that he's from Liverpool, then even in this case, you can still, feel the impact of this transformative event. Now, in a couple of seconds, I will share my screen and we are going to talk about each of those aspects that we need to be aware of. But before that, let me also invite you to join our Eclipses Transformational program. It will be a very special event continuing for 3 weeks, 21 days, starting on the 2nd of July until the 22nd. And during this period, we are going to work with the energies of the 2 eclipses, the solar one on the 2nd, the lunar one on the 16th. So if you want to join us there, it will be in a special private Facebook group, a small group of people. We are going to work with all of those topics. The mother, the father, connection with this North Node energy. And, this is really a corridor of time during which you can transform many things in your life. So I would like to invite you. You can check the link below if you're interested. Please sign up. There is also another option there. The regular price for this whole 3-week program is just $49. If you also want to get a 60-minute session with me, the price will be $149. It includes 60-minute session and the whole transformational program. So usually just the regular price for a 60-minute session is $180. So you get a huge discount during this such, pivotal, life-changing period. Now, more about it I will share at the end of this video. If you want to ask some questions, also feel free to do that. Now, if you allow me, let me see if I can share the screen now. Okay, just please let me know if you can see the chart. I hope that you can see it. It looks like it's not visible. Yes. Okay, very quickly we are gonna try again. If it doesn't work, then I can draw it for you. Yeah, okay, something with Hangouts. I'm not sure what exactly, but we are gonna work this out. So the exact degree of this eclipse, okay, I won't draw. It will take too long. After that, I can add the chart. You can see it. So you can go after that to my Facebook page. I will post the picture of the solar eclipse if you want to see the aspect. So you can join us there. So what's the most important? The exact degree, 11 degrees in Cancer. That's the exact position of the sun and the moon. The North Node is 18 degrees. 18 degrees in Cancer as well. Now, first of all, check, is there any connection with your natal planets and those degrees? 11 degrees and 18 degrees Cancer. If you have a planet or a cusp of a house within 5 degrees before or after those degrees, this will really be a very, very important life-changing period for you. And actually not only this exact moment, but potentially for 6 months ahead. In some cases, it's considered that the impact may last for 2 or 3 years ahead. So obviously, those can be some very significant shifts. Which are the other planets which are included? Venus is in conjunction. Venus is in conjunction with the Sun and the Moon, but Venus is in the last degree of Gemini. So, first of all, Venus will add a little bit of this Gemini energy, which means that also it's a great time to think things through, to analyze things, to be more open-minded. At the same time, Venus can add more emotions. Generally, Cancer is one of the most sensitive, sentimental, romantic signs. So obviously, those energies will be very intense. But Venus there, even though it's in Gemini, it can add also more emotions. We may really want to focus on some personal themes which are important for us. Yes, later I will give you the link for the Facebook page, or I can try to do that now. All right, so Venus adds more emotions in this overall picture and everything which is going on around us. Now, also what's very important, Saturn will make opposition. Saturn will make opposition with this solar eclipse. Okay, I think I posted the link for the Facebook page. So you're welcome to join us there. Later, I will add also the link in the description for people who are watching the recording. You will find also the link below this video. So Saturn is in opposition with the Sun and the Moon as well. And Saturn is in conjunction with the South Node. Now, this is something that we need to be prepared for. Saturn can bring some possible restrictions, some kind of boundaries, some kind of challenges that we need to overcome. So the way to work this through, in my opinion, is to let go, first of all, of the personal restrictions that we create for ourselves. I'm pretty sure that most of you, or maybe even all of you who are here in this community, in this channel, you're generally also interested in spiritual stuff, maybe even psychology. And you know that there is a theory which I also support, that the outer world is just mirroring us, our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions. Many of them might be subconscious. We may not be completely aware of them, but the outer world is just showing us what we are projecting. So even certain, different restrictions, challenges, in some cases, fears, it's all starting with us. And I think that, this is very empowering, because it means that the more aware you are, the more conscious you are, the more you can transform your reality, basically, the outer world. So I think that it's very important to look inside of us to see what kind of limitations do we put, or do we have, or we create for ourselves. Maybe there is something that you feel incapable of doing. Maybe you don't value yourself enough. Maybe you don't believe in your skills enough. You doubt, you don't have enough confidence, or maybe you don't feel like you deserve it. This is also a major issue many people have, consciously or subconsciously. So I think that during this solar eclipse, and even after that, the lunar eclipse, which is coming, this is the time to, first of all, realize those limitations, those restrictions, those fears that we have. And it may really be time to let them go. Yes, it will require hard work. Yes, it may not be so easy, but you may set yourself free. And why am I saying this? Why am I talking about setting yourself free, or, freedom, or releasing the limitations? The reason is because Uranus will have a positive aspect with the solar eclipse. Currently, Uranus is in Taurus, and it will make a positive aspect, sextile, with the solar eclipse. And actually, this is the only positive aspect that we have from the other planets to the solar eclipse. So we really need to use it. We need to focus on that. Uranus is our best friend here. And Uranus can set you free. Uranus can help you to, find a deeper meaning in something, find inspiration, find the motivation to make changes. And, it's very interesting. So Saturn is bringing challenges, Saturn, the opposition with the solar eclipse. And Uranus makes the positive aspect, the sextile. So Saturn brings challenges. It means that if you try to stick to the old stuff, Saturn is the past, what's familiar, the old structures. If you try to keep them, if you resist the change, it can be very difficult for you. You may feel very suppressed, maybe even depressed. But even if that's the case, if you find the strength to open up for something new, to let the new energy flow in your life, then you can make a drastic shift. With Uranus, there is no depression. That's why also, Uranus rules astrology. People who learn astrology or practice it, or, generally it's part of their lives, they cannot be depressed. Uranus connects you to something beyond the material world, like a different understanding or inspiration or creativity. So it's really time to open up for this energy. So let go the past, try to release the blockages, Saturn, the old things which are suppressing you, and open up for the new things, for the new inspiration. Okay, yeah, some people share that it's their birthday. Actually, now I remember that on my birthday this year, on the 5th of January, there was a solar eclipse. Yes, that's right. So, yeah, I don't think that something bad has happened to me. It's 6 months ago. And actually, yeah, I feel like the year is very important for me. Like, I'm really focused on things, work, and so on. But I don't think that it has hurt me in any way. If you have a birthday close, maybe 1-2 days before or after the 2nd of July or the 16th of July, it also means that this eclipse affects your solar return chart. So it's very important actually to pay attention what's going on in this solar return chart, which house is triggered there, and you really need to focus. For example, in my solar return chart, it activated 10th house. It's still activating it actually. So major shifts in career, I would say in a positive way, with many projects I have started. So I know that many people are afraid when they hear about eclipses, but I think that these are great periods when you can transform many things in your life. And the point of astrology is not to, scare you or to be afraid of it. Yeah, Aries rising in my solar return chart. That's true. Yeah, we have astrology people here, which is great. So yeah, back to our aspects. As I said, Saturn makes challenging aspect. And the other planet which is close there is also Pluto. Now, the aspect is a little large. I mean, the orbis is a little bit wider or larger. It's 11 degrees and a half. So some astrologers won't even consider it as an opposition. 11 degrees, some people think it's too much. In my experience, especially for the sun and for applying oppositions, you may work with 12 or even 14 degree orb. So the impact may not be extremely powerful or strong, but we may still feel it. So Pluto is part of the game too. And we know that Pluto is about transformation. Pluto is about power, about strength. Remember that Pluto is the collective power. So generally, I am not a specialist in, making global predictions, for the economy. It's mundane astrology. I don't feel like, I'm a specialist in this area. I work mostly with personal astrology, but this time when we have Pluto part of the whole picture, this may really affect also the world overall, some structures, some rules of how things are happening. There might be some serious transformations overall. And in terms of, your life, on a personal level, which is mostly what I'm talking about, this might be time also to, face with the old trauma and to release it. Yes, it could be difficult, but what was that? Recently, I found, a very nice quote. It was about emotions. Yeah, like challenging emotions which are, still burning and they're buried alive, they don't die. It was something like that. So if you have suppressed something painful, I mean, you haven't released it, you haven't healed it, you haven't been able to process it, but it's just like somewhere in the back of your mind and it's suppressed there. It's affecting you. And it could be really long time ago in your childhood, even during the process of your birth, even the time when the mother has been pregnant. These are extremely interesting topics which we are going to talk about and work with during our transformational program. I have started also exploring topics like psychobiology, and it really makes you go back to your past. The past is affecting us, especially things which are suppressed. So it could be a great time, this upcoming solar eclipse and the weeks after that, to work with those painful experiences, potentially even from your childhood, to heal the relationship with your mother and your father. I know that it sounds simple, and for many people it's not that easy, depending on your personal story. But if you keep having, some challenging emotions or anger towards your parents, it will be very difficult for you to find personal happiness. And the solution, in my opinion, here is just to be thankful to your parents for the fact that they have given you the gift of life. I know some people have had dramatic experiences, trauma, abuse, abandonment. I know that for you guys, it can be very difficult to accept this concept. But if you're able to incorporate it, you can set yourself free. That's the point. You are setting yourself free. And during our program, we are going to work with this, creating a different experience, healing the memories. We are going to use also, by the way, EFT. I'm not sure if you have tried it. I have used it in some of our previous videos. So basically you're just, tapping certain meridian points on your body. Very simple, very powerful, letting you to, set free from trauma, to calm yourself. So beautiful experience. But anyway, even if you don't want to join our program, that's completely fine. Work on your own, work with your past, with your childhood, with your connection with the mother, the father, the inner child, the security that you need. These are really the most important topics. And there might be some things popping up because of this Pluto opposition, which can even be painful or challenging, or can make you feel like you don't really have so much control. Pluto can be very, very powerful, but Pluto's energy is also extremely healing. So you might be really able to heal the past, to handle with those, painful experiences, maybe trauma, whatever you have been through. And trust me, I think that everyone has some issues, even myself, I consider myself as having a happy childhood, great parents, very supportive. But even in those cases, you still find something to work on, something to heal. And, the truth is that very often those experiences might be suppressed. So you need to dig deeper to find them. But after you find them, you can heal them and you are free. So I highly recommend you and suggest you to connect to your past, to your family members, to, honor them for what they have given you. And potentially this may really help you to move forward. So yeah, we have some big deal happening. Let me look back in the chart. Okay, so yeah, these are the aspects actually. Venus in conjunction with the solar eclipse together with the North Node, opposition from Saturn, Pluto, also in my opinion, even if it's not so powerful, but it's still there, and our biggest friend Uranus. Uranus, if you remember, also the planet of astrology, in my opinion, means that astrology may also help you to go easier through this period, or to release something, or to find some blockages. This is more like maybe family astrology, we can call it, or generational astrology. Analyze the charts of your parents or even generations before that, and try to find repeating aspects, repeating connections. For example, the same aspect in different generations. In our family, we have the square between Uranus and the Moon. My father, me, and my daughter, the 3 generations, we have this square. So, obviously there is something to work on. And many experiences, or examples can show you the same. So analyze the charts of your parents, even if you don't have the exact time. Most of the aspects will be visible. Just work with the time of the sunrise. Oh, I see that. Yeah, Debbie is here. Hi, Debbie. The program I'm talking about is Eclipses Transformational Program. If you remember, we did something similar during January with the previous eclipses. I think that it was very, very helpful for many people. Every day, we worked with a different topic. This time, it will be different, of course. And we are going to do some live meditations as well, by the way. The exact period moments actually of the eclipses, I will go live on Facebook in the private group, and I hope that you will be able to join me live. If not, you will be able to watch it later, but it can really help you to tune into this energy and, you know, to try to get some insights for yourself. So yeah, interesting. Also, it's very interesting when you do it together with other people. It can be very, very powerful. Okay, so let's say a few words about each of the signs. So after that, I will go through your comments. So if you have some questions, you can ask me. I will do my best to answer them. Okay, where are my notes? I think I can do that even without the notes, but anyway. For Aries, this solar eclipse will trigger 4th house. So you guys need to focus even more on family, home, the place where you live, the inner child, what brings stability in your life, you know, the foundation where you are stepping on. So it's a really, you know, time to explore what's going on. For some people, it could be time to make significant changes about your home, the place where you live, potentially also property issues or relocations. So home and family, these are the key themes for you. For Taurus, the solar eclipse triggers 3rd house, which means communication, contacts, siblings, but also intellectual work, ideas, some skills, something new that you can learn in this area, something that you can gain. But here, focus on the mind. You know, remember that the sun is invisible. So you need to bring your consciousness. You need to be really aware of what's going on, to be open-minded. So time for new ideas, changes in terms of your communication with other people, how you can connect to them, and also to let your mind guide you. For Gemini, the eclipse will trigger 2nd house. So very important period for your resources. When we say resources, it can include, of course, your money, but also your energy, all kinds of personal belongings. So concentrate on that, how you can achieve more in terms of your resources. You know, maybe earn more money, maybe improve your financial situation, or have more stability, or achieve something practical, something material in your life. So it could be quite interesting. Of course, Cancer, my dear rising sign friends, for us, it's a big deal. This eclipse is really a big deal because it's in Cancer. So let me remind you the exact degree. 11 degrees in Cancer is where the sun and the moon are, and 18 degrees in Cancer is where the North Node is. So pay attention. Is your sun or rising degree close there? For example, in my case, it's really close to my rising degree. So obviously it makes the eclipse even more important for you. And it's mostly about yourself, everything that you are doing, your actions, your plans, your activities, your projects, personal transformations, you know, releasing something from your past, from your subconscious mind. So, of course, you know, for Cancer people, it's extremely, extremely important. You know, they will be triggered like, you know, the most of all signs. For Leo, the eclipse is in an interesting position, 12th house. 12th house for many Leos is not an area where they want to be focused unless you have, you know, many planets there or something else which shows the opposite. But overall, 12th house is related to the past, you know, to the quiet place where you are alone, isolation, but also spiritual work. So great time to dive deeper in the past, you know, for childhood or anything which you have buried deep in your mind or in your heart, and just release it. For spiritual work, it's fantastic. Maybe you can find, you know, a vacation, a retreat somewhere where you can go and just, you know, dive deeper in your emotions. Allow things to happen for you. So it may not manifest in something visible, something, you know, concrete and material, but internally there might be a big shift for you in your, you know, the connection between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. Many things from the past might come up which you can release, which you can become aware of. And, you know, all kinds of blockages, fears, self-restrictions, if you bring light to them, you can release them. You know, if they're in the shadow, they are controlling you. So awareness, that's what we need here. For Virgo, the solar eclipse triggers 11th house. So it's time to focus on group activities, maybe your friends, maybe other people who will share the same ideas. 11th house, you know, it doesn't represent regular friends. These are people who have similar ideas like you, the same worldview, the same interests. You know, this is a connection of a different kind, you know, and it could be a great time actually to find a new community where you can connect with like-minded people, or to do something for society, for others as well. So focus on being a team player. That's, you know, the general advice for Virgo. Libra, for you guys, this eclipse is also very important because it triggers your 10th house. 10th house is the highest point in the chart where everything is visible. When the sun is there, basically it's lighting everything around us. It's, you know, shining really bright. It's around noon when the sun is there. So very, very significant shifts may come into your life, things which will, you know, impact your whole life, your social status, your reputation, your career. So yeah, it could really be a big deal. I remember how much, maybe a couple of years ago, I'm not sure how many, I had a solar eclipse in exact conjunction with my MC. I also have the moon and Mars there. And there was a big shift in my career. I think that shortly after that, I quit my job and I started working, you know, in a completely different area. I think also I started working with astrology back then. So sometimes, you know, it may look like things are shifting for you, like you don't have complete control. It may look stressful, you know, like, for example, you may really need to change your job. But remember that everything is for your own good. And again, let me remind you, we have the North Node here. So that's the area where we can grow, where we can expand. So even if there are challenges coming, which may happen with Saturn in opposition with the eclipse, eventually you can release the blockages and you may grow. You may achieve more things. So yeah, that's very interesting. Okay, so next we have Scorpio. For Scorpio, this eclipse is supportive because it's in your 9th house, one of the best houses in the chart. And time also to focus on your worldview, on your personal philosophy, your beliefs. It's harmonious because it makes trine with your sign. I mean, Cancer and Scorpio, they are in a harmonious connection. So it might be easier for you actually to use the energy of this eclipse, and you really need to focus on the right beliefs, the right thoughts, the right worldview. If you believe that, the world is a difficult place where you need to struggle, where, you won't be loved, or it's difficult to find love or to succeed, then guess what? That's what you will manifest. That's what you will experience. If you focus on, especially around this eclipse, to release those limiting beliefs and to develop, the positive mindset that the world is a place to grow, to learn, to connect with other people, to expand your knowledge, to do something meaningful, to make an impact, then you will be able to materialize that. Yes, it may take time. Yes, it's a process. Yes, we all learn until we are here. But, it's much easier for you if you have the right mindset. So, yeah, great time to focus on philosophy, beliefs, education, potentially also time for a new education or traveling or even relocation. So 9th house is really one of the best houses in the chart. Okay, just let me finish with the other 4 signs and I will read your questions, guys. We have Sagittarius next. For Sagittarius, it could be a very transformative solar eclipse because it affects your 8th house. 8th house, the house of crisis, of transformations. The house also related to mutual resources and finances. So you may really need to go through some kind of crisis. It could be emotional, mostly, or psychological. But 8th house also brings the potential to transform something and even to heal that. So I would highly recommend you guys, I would recommend it to anyone, but especially to the Sagittarius people who have the eclipse in 8th house, to use energy psychology or energy practices to handle with that. One of the ways is yoga. It could be Reiki. It could be finding a healer, or you can use the tapping, the EFT, one of my favorite techniques, this is, energy psychology, the EFT. So you may unlock those or release those blockages, transform things by using the tapping technique. Capricorn. For Capricorn, also significant position of the eclipse in 7th house. So it is time for transformations in relationships. Karmic relationships or partnerships or connections with other people. So don't try to do everything on your own. Ask for help, ask for support, for advices, to, partner with others. This is very important and can help you to move forward. For some of you, there might be deep transformations in partnerships and relationships. If you are in an unhappy marriage, maybe it's time, to separate. It's time to set yourself free. If you are, for example, in a relationship, but it's not official, it's not maybe, without marriage or something, then for you guys, this might be a time to really want to put some, how to say that? Well, to make things more serious, to find more security there. But relationships are key for you, key area during the upcoming months. 7th house is also about your reputation. And if you are working in front of an audience or you have clients. For example, if you are some kind of consultant like me, or maybe you are a psychologist, or maybe you are a doctor, you have clients, this may also be, this eclipse may show that this area, the client's area, the connections with other people may change as well. You may need to focus there, to do something new, to expand, to set yourself free maybe from some kind of limitations and blockages in regards to this area. Next, we have Aquarius. For you guys, this eclipse triggers 6th house, the house of work, career, generally the work environment, but also your health. This is time to make some transformations. Maybe you need to find a new job. Maybe it's time for you to finally start your own business, or change something about your communication with coworkers, or also to do something about your own health. It could be finding, a new therapist, or exploring. Again, what pops into my mind is the psychobiology, finding the reasons for your symptoms or your health issues. Nothing, there is nothing which is just, a coincidence. Every symptom, every illness, it brings a message for you. There is a lesson that you need to learn. There is something, which has triggered that. If you are able to find the cause for the symptom, the illness, you can release that. It brings incredible healing power. I can recommend that to anyone, but especially the Aquarius people. If you guys have certain symptoms or illnesses, try to find the lesson there, the meaning. There always is one. So health, work, obligations, responsibilities. These are the key areas for Aries. And Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. For Pisces, this eclipse is very beneficial because it triggers your 5th house, which is also one of the best houses in the chart. The house of love, romance, creativity, hobbies, children. So what is it that you can do in this area? How you can grow? Maybe you can, reconnect with your own children. Maybe you may decide to have children or another child, or something creative that you want to do, a hobby, activity which will inspire you, which will make your heart happy, which will bring joy in your life. And of course, one of the most interesting topics, love and romance. Time to change something, time to shift things, time to release some blockages. So connecting to your heart, that's the most important for Pisces people. Okay, guys, so that's the most important for the 12 signs. Again, make sure to pay attention to your sun and ascendant sign as well. And if you want to join our Eclipses Transformational program, the link is below this video. During those 3 weeks, we are going to work in a special private small Facebook group, and I will give you some tasks to work on. We are going to use the EFT a lot to release blockages. We are going to make meditations, including live meditations on the exact moments of the 2 eclipses. Also, you can get a 60-minute session with me. There is a huge discount, so just check the links below this video. Now, if you have some questions about the eclipses or the program that we are starting, please write them in the chat. I will try to answer as many as I can. Yeah, interesting one. What if Capricorn doesn't follow the advice, doesn't transform his relationship? Is he doomed, or for how long? As we said, eclipses can affect you for 6 months up to 2 or 3 years in some cases. I think that if you are resisting to make the changes on your own, then the changes will come, but it will be different from what you may want to experience. So if you resist the changes, you are making things much harder for yourself, I think. And in my opinion, the more consciously we make the choices, the changes, the higher chances we have actually to have power over our future and to benefit actually. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Holly, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name. Okay, it looks like a complicated situation. So I really need to see the whole chart. But if Venus and the Moon are triggered, these are the emotional planets. So family, home, relationships, these are the themes that you really need to work on. Uh-huh. Eclipse, Miriam shares, eclipse is triggering Moon at 8 degrees Cancer, nearly conjunct MC, going through divorce. Could a 10th house eclipse trigger development related to divorce? I think it can, because it's your social status. Whether you are married, divorced, single, it's not only a 7th house thing, but also 10th house. So yes, absolutely, it could be. Cancer ascendant. This eclipse is making a hard square to my natal nodes. It affects the same as any planet. With the nodes, first of all, the orbis we are using is 5 degrees. So make sure, are they, is there a 5 degree aspect? I'm not sure that this is something to be worried about. So yeah, it could show, realizing that you need to shift something about your direction, but don't be bothered. It may just show a shift, or some efforts that you need to put in certain area. But you need to explore generally, in which houses are the transiting nodes right now. I'm a single cap, would like love in my life. Then you should, Paula, you should work with your beliefs about relationships. The past, past relationships. Is there any trauma or pain that you're still keeping, or negative emotions? And yeah, that's what I would recommend you. Another person who has a birthday on the 2nd of July. I'm not sure if you heard the part where I explained that on my last birthday, I also had the solar eclipse. And honestly, it's an important year, but I cannot say that something bad has happened for me. So analyze your solar return chart, Sophie, and what's triggered there from the eclipse. Which house are there? Other personal planets which are also triggered. That's it requires an in-depth analysis. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the lunar one, we are going to talk about the lunar eclipse as well in a couple of weeks. So that's just the beginning. But as I told you, the period in between the two eclipses, it's a corridor of energy when you can transform things, you can process, I think some things related to your karma. In this case, all of the Cancer topics. So yeah, it is a big deal. Julie, can I join the Eclipses transformational program, not knowing as much as I would like about astrology? Absolutely. You don't need to know much astrology or any at all. You just need to be willing to make transformations in your life. That's all. So yeah, please join us. Paula says, yes, I had a bad experience. Then Paula, you need to work on that. If you are still mad, angry, or even too sad about your past relationship, then, subconsciously you are creating some blockages. So release that, work on that. Okay. Mars 16 my Cancer and Saturn retrograde in 26 Cancer. Saturn on the 26th degree in Cancer won't be triggered, so don't worry about it. It's if Mars, you mean, is on the 6th degree, then Mars is triggered, so time to take some action for you. Okay, so the comments are flowing, so I'm trying to answer, each of them, not to miss, but if I miss something, I apologize. We have a question about Mercury retrograde. Yeah, it is interesting. At certain point during this corridor between the eclipses, we are also gonna have Mercury retrograde. So it also means focus and working with the past. We are going to talk about Mercury when the time comes, but I think that it's requiring even more from us to focus and to release things related to the past. Okay. Donnie Lim, a romance can be nice. Last time it happened was 19 years ago for me. Can you remember actually the 19-year cycle? What it's related to? Okay, I won't torture you, and I will tell you that this is the cycle of the nodes. It takes around 18 years and a half to be exact for the lunar nodes to return to the same position. So if 19 years ago you have had an important romance, probably in some way it has also been triggered by the nodes. I guess that there were also other indications included, but now the nodes are activating, the same spot in your chart. So I would say that it's absolutely possible for you. Yeah, I will try, Queen of Snakes. I will try to do the same for the lunar eclipse. Thank you for asking. Asus, I'm not, maybe I have missed your question. I apologize. Let me see if I can go back. Okay, I don't see it. Can you please write it again? I'm sorry. What about the eclipse exact natal moon in the 6th house? Health. Yes, you are a female. So the feminine topics. How are you nurturing your body? How are you taking care of yourself, of your feminine health as well, working with the feminine energy overall. It could be related to diets or something like that. Or as well also family stuff, the moon things. My ascendant is 9 degrees 58 minutes Cancer. Okay, this eclipse is very important for you personally, for your own actions and everything that you are doing. Paula shares that her birthday was on the 3rd of January and the eclipse on the 5th was tough for her. Yes, it could be. It depends on what is triggering in your chart. And I'm not sure if you have analyzed your chart, but I mean the solar return chart. You need to pay attention what's happening there. In my case, it's 10th house, so it's lots of work, lots of, plans for business or for growth. But for example, if it triggers 8th house, it's completely different. Of course, there might be some crisis or challenges or deep transformations. Okay, Asus or Asus, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it now. I can see your question. The North Node is transit conjunct my natal South Node. Sun there too, 2nd house, Cancer. Okay. So you have an inversion, I think it was called, when the transit North Node is in conjunction with your natal South Node. That's an important phase as well. And, they are shifting. So it could be similar as having, a full moon. The full moon is the time, when we have an opposition, when we have two polarities, when you can let go of something, or it might also be a culmination, time to materialize something. So overall, it could be important for your personal path. And especially if you have the South Node there, then maybe you need to work with your own goals, with your own confidence, maybe, things which are important personally for you. And in terms of the house, 2nd house, it's about resources, about your finances, maybe your own financial independence or resources overall. Eclipse for the natal Cancer moon in 12th house. Lots of emotional work. Diving deep in the past, maybe even the past of your whole family, or connections that you have with the members, and spiritual work as well. Yes, Kadi, the position or the point in your chart which is activated is basically where the exact degree falls, 11 degrees and 18 degrees in Cancer. So find in, where in your chart you have this position. Okay, so yeah, I hope I was able to answer your questions and also to inspire you. So don't be afraid. Instead, try to be more conscious and to take responsibility. I think that that's what we need to do, to accept that we are responsible for our own lives. And again, to remind you, if you want to join our transformational program for 3 weeks, we are going to work with all of these topics, the eclipses, the 2 eclipses, how to release, the trauma, and how to make this transformation really work for us. So we are going to work in a small private Facebook group. Feel free to join us there. The price is $49 for the whole program for 3 weeks, daily videos and posts. If you want to get the program and a 60-minute session with me, the price is $149. So you get like an $80 discount, which is, almost 50%. So make sure to sign up because, those platinum packages, they are limited. So thank you very much for being here. Make sure also to join us on the Facebook page. I will post the chart of the eclipse maybe tomorrow, and you'll also find more daily updates there. As usual, it was a real pleasure for me to be together with you here. And I wish you all a wonderful summer. I will see you really soon.